Okay, so this is the story of how I found out about my husband at the time and my mom having an affair almost 14 years ago, right after I had my daughter, and I was dealing with a lot of health issues. So, as I mentioned before, my mom was living with us. She was staying down in the basement. Well, after several months of this, she ended up getting her own house. So, she was renting a house, and it was like a block away from us. So, it was still really close to us, and my husband and her carpooled together. So she moved in there and she would visit us frequently. And I still had the same suspicion that I had always had. So at this point, my husband at the time and me, we were always arguing, and it got to the point where we needed to separate. So we all agreed that it would be best if my husband would move into my mom's house that she was renting, and she would move back in with me to help me with my newborn. Okay, so my mom was living with me, he was living in her rental house. They flip flopped houses. And while she was living with me, we started to get close. And she started to confide in me some things. And she knew that obviously my husband at the time and I were separated. And so she started telling me about all of these times he's cheating on me with all these different women. And she made me promise not to tell him that I heard it from her. So, of course, I was like, of course, I'm not going to tell him anything, but inside I'm like, I got to go confront him. So that's exactly what I did. Even though he was only living like a block away, I got in my car and I like sped out of there and I went to go confront him. And he was outside and he was actually bringing some groceries into the house, and I stopped him and I was in my car. He came out to the car and I just confronted him. And I said, hey, my mom said that you've been cheating on me this entire time. And he looked me square in the eyes and he said, well, why don't she tell you what her and I have been doing? And I will never forget the look that was in his eyes when he said that. I'm so sorry, but I'm going to film a part two.